So yeah, to begin this story, I guess this probably shouldn't be surprising, these ordeals, since he's got a 350 million bill to pay now for engaging in repeated financial fraud, as it was phrased. And the thing is, I'm not, I don't need a lawsuit myself, so I don't. I'm just going by what I read in, I believe it was NBC News, but I guess that's what he's done according to them. So, this shouldn't surprise me based on that he's got a lot of money to make, but he has a sneaker line now, and I thought I'd talk a little bit about that. So this started on Saturday, to my knowledge, where he attended SneakerCon in Philadelphia, and that's something I really, didn't know about at all, that there's something called SneakerCon. And maybe that's not really surprising that it's just some convention that I don't know. I don't know every convention, but I was surprised. It just sounded kind of like sort of a joke, and I'm not trying to say anything rude to people who are into sneakers, I guess. I mean, I wasn't surprised there are people who are into that kind of thing, but I didn't know there would be a convention for it. But I went to their website, and it is a real thing, and it's a one-day-a-year event that includes, and this is a quote from their website, sneakers, streetwear, and a day full of activities for sneakerheads of all ages, which I think is a term for people who are into sneakers or something like that. So, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. That sounds like some weird nerd thing to me, but to each his own. Let people be into whatever they want. I won't judge them. But anyway, so he went to SneakerCon to announce the launch of, and the name of the company is Trump Sneakers. So yeah, that's what he went there to announce. And the funny thing about it is, and this is according to NBC News again, that at SneakerCon Trump said, quote, "We're going to remember the young people, and we're going to remember SneakerCon." And their theory from this, I don't know if in the speech he gave, he was more like upfront about this, but I guess he believes that this is a way to like reach out to younger voters. And yeah, I mean, I don't know because the thing is, I imagine people who are really into sneakers are kind of like people in their 50s who just have like niche hobbies who need something to do. I don't really know many people. I mean, I'm 21, so I guess I count as like a young voter. I was only able to vote in the last election, and this will be the second one I can vote in this upcoming one. So I guess I'm probably the demographic he means. I mean, not me specifically, but people like me, when he's talking about how he's gonna like, win people over with this. He's gonna remember the young people of this country. I can't remember the last time I was really interested in wearing a gold shoe with the American flag on it, which, spoiler alert, that's what the shoes basically are. But I don't know, I don't know. I mean, most people don't have a show where they talk about stuff at 21 on the radio here, so I don't know. I'm not a normal person at all. So maybe most people are just like salivating at this. But anyway, another kind of weird bit about this whole thing, though, is that I thought it was a bit surprising that SneakerCon would let this happen at the first place. Because like I said, I know nothing about them, but I thought it was a bit weird because you know who you're inviting when you invite Donald Trump. I mean, he's been in the public eye for a long time, but he's kind of, I don't want to say reinvented his image, but in the past 9 years, he's changed from being like a businessman who had a reality show to like to this day one of the most influential people in politics right now. So I hate when people make comments about how things have like gone political, basically, in terms of, when a celebrity says like, I think that gay people should be treated the same as everybody else, and people say, "Oh, well, you've gone political now by talking about that." I hate when people do. I hate when like every time someone has to speak positively about a social issue, if that's what you want to say about it, that people say they've gone political or whatever. But it is a bit weird for a convention that I don't think is politically affiliated in any other sense to invite Donald Trump over to give a speech where he's talking about winning the nation back or whatever. But again, at the same time, it's like I'm assuming it's like mostly older people managing this event. So I guess they just assume maybe like, well, they're thinking about what the kids would like, and the kids are really into that Donald Trump right now. So it made sense to invite him, I guess. Okay, I guess I'll give him a pass on that one. But on the other side, it wasn't really all. When I say that, I kind of assumed that it would be mostly a lot of support for Trump when he went there, because first of all, I would imagine that, I don't know how, but somehow they would have to like gauge the audience's political perspectives to think this would be acceptable, and if they assume they'd mostly be conservative, they would be cool with it. I don't know. I would assume they would have some reasoning for why they would invite him over, thinking that, oh, okay, so this is going to go great for us then. But I guess it didn't really. I mean, there were people supporting him, obviously, as you would expect, but there were some boos actually among the crowd. I had read that when I was first researching this in a news article, and I thought, well, I might as well just look for myself and see what it was really like. And yeah, there was some boos from the audience. Not everyone was happy to see him. And like I said, on one hand, I'm a bit surprised at that because I would think that they wouldn't do something like this SneakerCon unless they were very sure that there'd be just no incidents. And there wasn't really an incident. People can have their opinions on this whole thing, but the audience would be basically unanimously for Trump, or they would, that there would be some reasoning why they would bring him over because they just think it's going to go well. And it's not like I said, nothing really happened, but no, I guess there was a pretty mixed response from the crowd. So I don't know. And that's kind of what I was saying, where on the other hand, I'm not really that surprised because, well, he's a controversial figure. So obviously there's going to be people who are against him. But anyway, looking at the sneakers themselves, so they're gold high top sneakers with the American flag kind of around the back, although just the stars and the red stripes, the white is replaced with the gold from the shoe. And there's a T on the side of them, like kind of where like the logo for the shoes would be. And, frankly, I think it might be hard for someone to even tell that they're Trump related if they didn't already know, unless they kind of already knew about this whole Trump sneaker line and saw someone wearing them, or unless they saw a picture of what they were beforehand. I mean, they don't really seem all that political. I mean, they're political in the sense that I guess if you wear shoes with the American flag outside this country, some people might have like assumptions about you. I guess there are some people who wouldn't like that, but they didn't even seem like a political thing necessarily. But I don't think you'd want to wear them in public anyway. I mean, you just kind of look like an ass because, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but something about people wearing these gold shoes that have the American flag on them, just it's giving off. It's giving off vibes that you're just looking for arguments with people, knowing that they are Donald Trump related. People can. I would obviously. I'm not really a Trump supporter, but I would never get into a thing with anyone about that. Let people just live their lives, and I wouldn't bother knowing about it. But it seems like when you're doing that, there's going to be someone out there who's going to look for a fight with these people, and you probably shouldn't. You probably should just live and let be. But still, but anyway, according to NBC News, the man of the people president, if that's what I've seen a lot of people who support him call him, selling these shoes for $399. And I'm just gonna say right now, I don't care if I love Trump, if I voted for him, twice, 3 times, I guess, in this upcoming primary. I'm not spending $399 on shoes. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not like a sneaker person. When I get shoes, I just buy whatever's like on sale. Okay, so I don't care what kind of shoes I'm wearing. Maybe people who do would really care about that. Maybe shoes for $399 isn't that much, I guess. But I could buy like a game console with that much money. I'm not buying shoes for $399. And it's kind of like one of those things where I don't get who else would buy them. Because I feel like most Trump supporters, that's even out of their price. $399 on shoes is out of pretty much everyone's price range in terms of buying shoes. So I feel like it's one of those things where people who are desperate to like own the libs would buy them because they're showing off to them that, yeah, look at these Trump shoes that I got. What do you think about that? What do you think about that? And like looking for a fight almost. That's kind of the vibes I get from it. Maybe that's not all who would wear it, but I don't get, if you would spend $399 on shoes, I feel like you kind of lost the plot already. But those aren't the only, it's a sneaker line, so those aren't the only shoes that are available. So if you really want the Trump shoes, there's more options. He's also selling athletic shoes, which have the number 45 on the side, and those are coming in at $199. And again, like I said, I know pretty much nothing about like shoe prices, so I'm gonna say that's more reasonable, I guess. I'm still not buying those for obvious reasons, and the other thing is I haven't really seen pictures of those. I've just read descriptions of them. I don't know what the problem was, but I couldn't get to the web. Wanted to go to his website specifically, or whatever website he's selling these on, to like just look at some pictures myself. It was pretty hard. I don't know for what reason it was, but it was hard to get onto the website. It just kind of kept crashing for some reason. But that's not like an indictment of the website or anything, because I don't know, my internet is pretty crap, so maybe that's my fault. In fact, it probably is my fault, but still, I'm not gonna buy. I don't care what they look like. I'm not gonna buy the high top gold Trump sneakers or the athletic shoes. Neither one. And I kind of find it funny. It's been documented for I think about 2 years almost now. But I like how Trump is kind of transitioning into the goofy knick-knack salesman type. Not the. I know he's running for president again, but imagine if he wasn't for a second. He's kind of transitioning into the conservative knick-knack salesman because he sold NFTs for a while. I don't know if he still does really, but Yeah, if you all remember that, that was what, a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, I think. So and maybe I'm completely off on that, but it feels like it was that long ago. And he's also selling on one of his websites a Victory 47 perfume and cologne for $99. So that's the penny pincher Trump supporter what to get them for this upcoming Christmas, and it's kind of I didn't really get it at first, but then 47 is like because if he wins in 2020, if he wins this election, he's going to be president number 47 as well as 45. That might be a bit confusing because I feel like out of all the presidents, he's kind of the one who pushes the number the most. Like he has the number 45 printed on a lot of his stuff. It feels like I'm pretty sure you can buy like Trump shirts that have the 45 on it because he's the 45th president. So is it going to be he's just doing 47 now, or that you can get 45 and 47? I don't know. It's kind of like when back in 2019, 2020, when the presidential campaign was starting and he was shifting away from. I always imagine his whole campaign slogan would just only be like "Keep America Great" now, because it seemed like that was what he was going to do early on. But it was kind of like 50% "Make America Great Again" and 50% "Keep America Great." And I think it's just because the first one became so iconic that he couldn't dump it, I guess. But yeah, moving on a bit, I mean, like I said, I think this stuff's kind of just junk. I'm not going to buy any of it. But I would like to see someone become like the ultimate MAGA warrior, if that's what you want to call them, by buying all the products he sells, that Trump sells, and just, wearing that out in public like a superhero or something, like buying the shoes and a MAGA hat. And I'm sure they're like Trump shirts and stuff, so buying one of those. Maybe wearing like one of those Trump flags like a cape. I think that would look just badass. I want to see someone do that. I want to see like, someone like that, go to a nightclub or something, see who they can pick up. I don't know. I think that'd be pretty cool. Someone should make that happen. If I had a budget of, enough to buy all this, I would make that happen. But, unfortunately, we can't always get what we want, I guess. So in addition to all that, it seems that I was bringing up earlier him selling all these products. There is kind of a reason for that, I guess, which is, he probably needs money more than he has in a little while because he was sued and lost the court case. Well, something interesting is that we were all wondering, well, he's a billionaire, I guess, or at least he claims, so he can pay that, right? Well, maybe not, because a GoFundMe with a goal of $355 million has been made on Saturday. And yeah, that was the same day that Trump sneakers were launched that I saw. And it's not really hidden. It's basically to help him fund his legal problems. So I thought that was a bit funny that the first time I'd seen this whole lawsuit mentioned after it had happened was in the context of reading an article about the GoFundMe. So it seems to me, and I'm not saying it was, but immediately afterwards someone got on that. So good for them for their productivity. And the GoFundMe page was started by Elena Cardone. I might be saying that incorrectly. And it says, and I'm quoting from the page itself, "I stand unwaveringly with President Donald Trump in the face of what I see as unprecedented and unfair treatment by certain judicial elements in New York. The recent legal battles he faces are not just an attack on him, but an attack on the very ideals of fairness and due process that every American deserves." Right. So, anyway, the GoFundMe has raised $396,000 and 450. Okay, I completely screwed that up. Sorry about that. It has raised $369,459, which, that's a lot of money, obviously. I mean, I don't have that much. But, at the same time, it's not even 1% of what he needs. So I think it's fair to say this isn't helping him a lot. And by the way, just to be clear, that figure may have gone up because the last time I checked, this was like Monday. And that I know that's lazy on my part. That it was only 3 days after the thing started. That time has doubled since then. So has it increased since then? Probably. Has it gone down? Maybe. Well, it's not impossible. But I mean, the thing is, though, I hate these kind of crowdfunding efforts when I see them. I mean, I've never given to like a Kickstarter or anything like that, anyways, and I'm not against it or anything, but I just never have partaken in it. But I hate these kind of crowdfunding efforts where it's money for a politician, not for anything politically related, because he got himself into this mess, and you can agree with him politically, but you should have no like personal loyalty to him because what he was sued for. I mean, unless I'm forgetting something, it had nothing to do with his presidency, or maybe it was stuff that went on during his presidency, but it had nothing to do with, stuff he was doing as president. So, he got himself into this mess, so he should get out of it. And no politician really cares about the people they represent. I mean, including Trump. I mean, no politician. I know, like I brought up earlier that he's the man of the people, or at least that's kind of what his supporters claim he is one of his good qualities. But, no politician, no matter who they are and what their public persona is. They don't care about the people. I mean, I think that's just obvious. And again, you can support them in terms of you agree with their goals for this country or whatever, but to think that you should have personal loyalty to them because they care about you is nuts to me. I mean, they don't. And, moving on from that, I kind of touched on this earlier, but I mean, he's supposed to be rich, isn't he? He's the richest president of all time, I think, by a lot. Can he not pay this himself? I mean, unless, and I'm just speculating here, and I'm not making any claims on this, but unless he's nowhere as rich as he claims he is, shouldn't he be able to? And, it's just, if you're going to donate to him, I just find that to be like, you're a sucker because he should either have the money already, or you should wait till he's doing something that you deserve is worthy of your praise and then donate to him. I mean, if you want to donate to his campaign, that's one thing. But, if you're donating to him to get out of legal problems, that just seems a bit absurd to me. But overall, though, it seems to be that Trump's kind of digging a deeper hole for himself in terms of the legal problems. And then I'm not saying he's behind it. It wasn't started by him, but it's kind of embarrassing that someone made a Kickstarter for him or a GoFundMe for him. And, I know that I think I should address that. I feel like with these things, it's sometimes like the people make them thinking like, well, yeah, they can afford to pay them, but I don't think they should have to because they did nothing wrong, which I still just find ridiculous. Okay, if they can afford to pay for it, they can afford to pay for it. And I don't care if I support the cause or not. I'm not giving money for that. It's kind of like, if people remember, there was a Kickstarter made, or a GoFundMe. I keep mixing them up, calling GoFundMe Kickstarter, but there was a GoFundMe made, or maybe it was Kickstarter, I don't know. But back when the Patriots were fined for the whole Deflategate thing, where people were donating so they wouldn't have to pay their legal bill. And yeah, to me, it's just, I would never give money to a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter or whatever if the people who I'm giving to, I know they have the money. But that's just me personally. But I find it funny that the one thing about Trump that even if you dislike him, you have to admit he is unpredictable. I didn't think he would be selling sneakers like he is. I mean, I guess because the thing is, him selling these products, the whole point is that they were unpredictable. No one thought they would happen. So to predict what he's going to do next, I guess you got to think just about the most random, what could he possibly sell next? Or what could he, what is there no chance he would sell next? And there, that's your target. But before I wrap up this segment, if I could just mention one other thing. You might have seen this, but I just bring this up because it's sort of a political related thing. That George Santos, I believe, is suing Jimmy Kimmel for misusing his cameo. And I just bring that up because I had mentioned before on the show that I had wanted to do a thing where I'd pay for a cameo from him where he just said, like, hello to me or something, and we'd play it on the show. And I realized that I guess that would probably be misuse of his cameo because if I'm not mistaken, what the misuse was that he told him just to send a cameo to like my friend da-da-da and just say hi, and he played it on the show. That is probably basically what I was going to do, obviously just to a much lesser audience. So I'm sure you wouldn't have caught it even if I did. But yeah, I'd just like to conclude this by saying, since the two maybe are slightly linked, I guess everything happens for a reason, and things that don't happen, well, they don't happen for a reason. So I'm not ruling out ever getting a cameo from him, just not right now. I'm definitely not going to if I'm going to buy the Trump shoes too, that might stretch my budget a little bit thin. So unfortunately you can't, please don't believe that I'm going to be doing both of those things. But I will say, the Trump sneakers, I'm not going to buy them, but I would be happy to review them on the show, if anyone who has access to them, and by that I mean, people in power, at the Trump sneaker brand want to send them over, I'll hit me up and I'll give you an address to send them to. I'll review them. And I promise I will not let the fact that they sent them in, at all influence my opinion on whether or not I like them or not, the fact that I got them for free. I'm just going to review them for the amazing pieces of technology that I know that they are. And, it's as simple as that.